We have on the panel basically a number of dignitaries and leaders from different angles coming forward. So I have Michael Bucki, who's Counsellor Environment from the EU Delegation in India. We have Nandini Kumar, who is Counsellor at the CII-ITC Center for Excellence in Sustainable Development. Then we have our industry partners, Virendar Singh, and Lalit from Tata Motors Pro Life, who are both working on the extension of life of engines, of commercial engines. Then we have Sushil Kumar, who is the General Secretary of the Association of Ludhiana Machine Tools Industry, so representing a sector that is really working on machine and equipment. Then we have with us Mr. Swapan Mehra, Vice President of Invest India. And of course, you have already heard us speak, Rajiv, Ramchandra from Recreate, and myself representing UNIDO. So if I may then jump into the panel discussion, I would like to go first to Michael Bucki from the EU delegation. And I think that it is quite clear that the EU is internationally at the forefront of committing to and also facilitating the transition to resource efficiency and circular economy, not only within the home countries or the member states of the EU, but also beyond, in particular in the supply chains that ultimately are consumed in the EU. So the garments, the toys, the shoes that are manufactured in Asia and end up in the supermarkets or in the shops in Europe. So maybe, Michael, could you elaborate a little bit on the EU's framework for international cooperation on the circular economy and the role of remanufacturing as you see that, and then also perhaps elaborate on the support to India and what you see as the opportunities for India. Michael, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, René and Rajiv. Good afternoon to all ladies and gentlemen, fellow panelists. It's a real pleasure to be invited. I must say I'm not a remanufacturing expert, far from there. I'm a forest and climate expert, and so when I got your invitation, I first had to nervously scrap the barrel and understand what we were talking about. And when I realized what it is, I was struck by how it is really the backbone of a circular economy, how this idea of not only repairing but bringing to the original level of performance or even above is really, I mean, first it's an industrial challenge, of course. You need to upgrade your thinking quite a lot, but it's also an amazing opportunity. And in particular, I think in a country where the workforce is quite skilled, like India. So I see that actually my predecessor, Henriette Fegerman, whom I replaced 6 months ago, had made sure that David Fitzsimmons from the EU Remanufacturing Council had participated already in 2019 to the circular economy mission that we had organized in India. And that was the beginning of a process that led us to agree on a partnership between EU and India on resource efficiency and circular economy. I believe that the COVID situation led certain EU stakeholders like Hewlett-Packard or Bosch to increase their reliance on and their use of remanufacturing in their industrial processes. So I think it's I think a testimony that it's a good way to increase the resilience of the production process. At the same time, when I discussed with colleagues in charge of this resource efficiency partnership, they also flagged that at the same time, certain remanufacturing supply chains in Europe had been negatively affected by the crisis because they were using the same centralization that predicates the linear manufacturing models, and that we should make sure, while learning from the lessons from the EU, to also leapfrog and do better, and maybe integrate some degrees of decentralization in the remanufacturing industrial framework that will be developed in India. Also, something that it brought back to my mind is that it seems that remanufacturing at the moment is rather limited to those products where the price is high, that are easy to demanufacture, to set apart, and that are most robust to technological change. So in a sense, it restricts remanufacturing to a few sectors. You mentioned machines, industrial machines in particular, cars, of course, and then the army, the military equipments. So it's still relatively niche. Whereas if you think about it, it could be to a large extent expanded to many other sectors. And that brings me to the last point, which is that I think it starts with the eco-design, the fact that you think about the products in a way that they are modular enough that you can keep most of the parts for as long as you can. I will finish, if I don't abuse my time, with an anecdote I've learned about the first industrially produced car, the Ford T model, early last century. Apparently, Henry Ford ran a survey across the country that showed that there was one spare part, I don't remember which one spare part that never failed. There was no failure on that particular spare part. And so he concluded, so we should reduce the quality of that spare part so that it has the exact same life cycle as all the rest of the car. So we don't overspend resources on that particular piece because it doesn't need to be so robust. And now we are proposing, which is like a completely different model, and make sure that the rest of the car is as durable, or at least as upgradable as this undying part. I think it's a very interesting shift of perspective to make sure that most of the parts can be reinserted in the manufacturing process. And I'd be interested to pick the brain of my fellow panelists on other sectors beyond those high cost, high manufacturing capacity that could be adapted in such a modular framework so that they can more easily be recycled, and also lend themselves to more innovative business approaches where you sell the function instead of just selling the product. So it's as I said, it's a new field for me. I just talked to many interesting, I could even say fascinating people around me to learn more, and I'm full of curiosity for what you will discuss today. Thank you very much once again for the opportunity.
Thank you, Michael. And I think we are, many of us, on the same boat, that we think it's a great opportunity, and we haven't seen it. We want to learn more about this. It's also very clear that remanufacturing is just one of the options for, and it will have its niches or its sweet spots, and it will have some areas where it's more difficult to see how that could work out, and other options are there. So we are not not promoting a view that it's a one size fits all. It has to be a palette of solutions in that sense, and focus on that. May I just point you out, because I know that you and UNIDO and UNEP have just launched this GACERE, Global Alliance for Circular Economy and Resource Efficiency, which is there. So maybe for the sake of other people on the call, could you maybe give a 30-second blurb, or even 1 minute would be okay?
I can. So I did not mention, because it's something that we will be discussing with the government of India in a few weeks. So yes. I don't want to spoil any hopefully good surprise or like spill any beans. But yes, indeed, we EU and about 10 to 15 other countries have now joined this global alliance on circular economy and resource efficiency, which aims at ensuring basically international coordination, but also at bringing together a very broad range of such international initiatives that want to advocate for basically what we will call in the climate environment high ambition coalition for circular economy. So it's the first working meeting happened or will soon happen. I mean, it was just launched a few weeks ago. And yeah. I know that the ministry is considering, the Indian ministry is considering. So I really hope that I can tell more and bring some good news. We are to meet at a high-level meeting end of April. So we will have an opportunity to discuss further.
Yes, yes, I think thanks, Michael. But of course, this GACERE is also perceived as a multi-stakeholder partnership. So it's not only countries, but it's also industry associations and other bodies that could ultimately commit to, as you were saying, a high ambition coalition. So a group of like-minded people that commit to more aspirational goals on circularity and resource efficiency. Thank you very much, Michael. We might come back a bit later on, but let us go on to hear also from the other panelists. So,